Happy time zone, everybody. It's me, Ivory, and welcome to my gameplay diary. Today, I want you to scoot in just a little bit closer because if I speak too loudly, the woke police are going to find me. I started playing life simulation games when I was young, so naturally, I got conditioned to accept the lack of representation in games that were supposed to represent life. Behind the screen, I'm a black woman, in case you didn't know, but on the screen, I grew up playing as ashy characters that had chalk-like undertones and hair stiffer than your very first 𝐻𝒶𝓅𝓅𝓎 ponytail. And that's why we're all gathered here today, because I want to take a moment to educate you on what it's been like to be black while life simming, and finally show you why for the first time, I feel like we're really getting the representation that we deserve. Now, before we dive into the present day and future of Black life simmers, I want to take you back down memory lane. Yeah, I ate that. Anyway, so when The Sims 1 first launched, players had about 3 skin tones to choose from. It was light, lighter, and olive. When The Sims 2 launched, they did add another skin tone that could pass any parchment test. It wasn't until The Sims 3 that the team managed to acknowledge that people did not come in about 3 to 5 shades. So they made it to where you can customize your skin tone with sliders, but they still lacked representation in other areas like hairstyles, among other things. The Sims 4 came around and they had the chance to improve upon their skin tone slider. Instead, they decided to make any complexion deeper than alabaster a shade of gray. So you might not have felt seen as a black or brown player, but if you were a dro elf, you would have felt very represented. Now, if you're a creature of speculation, you might be thinking, Ivory, I know they gave you guys a nod to black culture globally with a world that represents players, right? No. In 25 years, 4 generations of a game, many console spin-offs, hundreds of DLC, there has never been a world in The Sims 4 that celebrates black culture. EA did manage to right their wrongs in a way by updating their skin tones. They also took the time to revise the way that they created afro hairstyles. Still, with so many game titles and DLC, I never understood why there was never a world that was created to celebrate black culture. And we're talking throughout 25 years, a quarter of a century, none of them. Africa is a continent that has plenty of countries. There's the Caribbean, there's South America that also has areas that are rich in black culture. Even the US and UK have cities that are deeply enriched with black culture from African descendants. So why is it that we have no world that celebrates and includes us? Black simmers went on to foster their own community anyway, and they created representation for themselves years before EA did many changes. But it's 2025 now, and we have more than one major life sim title. When inZOI released for early access, it was refreshing to see them partner with numerous black creators. The title mentioned earlier had more of a selective process when they initially started working with content creators back in the day. inZOI, however, embraced diversity with their partnerships and with their skin tone. The skin tones were amazing, and all the Zois were greased up and cocoa butter down, looking really good at launch day. Now, there are some people that were saying things like, you can't make any black characters in inZOI. I really don't know what they was talking about, but me, I've made several. Now, inZOI did manage to fall short when it comes to coily and curly hairstyles. The hairs that they had at launch were a bit off-putting, but I will say this, the team was very vocal and admitting that they could have done better, and then they promised to make improvements. I thought we would have had to wait ages for them to admit this and right their wrongs, but they were committed to making those improvements, and they did exactly that. So not only did they listen to the community, but they were accountable for their shortcomings, and I really respect them for that. Now, as far as having a world that embraces culture rooted in blackness, I'm not really sure when or if that will come from inZOI. 𝐻𝒶𝓅𝓅𝓎, who is the director of inZOI, has stated that he wants to add more worlds that mirror different parts of the world and paying respect to their culture. It's still really early in early access, but I do have a feeling that we might be graced with the world that celebrates us one day from inZOI. But inZOI isn't the only new kid on the block. We have Paralives, and that's set to release for early access on December 8 in this year of 2025. The game isn't even out yet and I'm already set for all of the amazing hairstyles. Every time I come across a pair of color, it really warms my heart. There's this one picture of this pair, this little pair. She's beautiful and she has a beautiful deep skin complexion with the cutest hairstyle. And it's the little details like that that make my inner child smile, because we didn't have that in life sim games when I was growing up. Paralives also has a more cartoonish art style, which is a bit more similar to The Sims 4 as opposed to the art style of inZOI. But even with that art style, there's like no broccoli hairstyle in sight. And if you know what I'm talking about, like if you know, you know. It's almost as if game devs assume that black hair is just naturally in a Jackson 5 afro, but it actually does not grow out of our head like that. We can pop out with a wash and go, a silk press, a braid out, stretched hair, updos, braids, locks, twists, what have you. And because of the way our hair grows, we often do have edges, baby hair, shape up. And I know this is my YouTube channel and I know I really do have to do my best to be on my best behavior, but real talk, if you see a black person and their hairline is looking a mess, something's wrong. Because we are always going to have our hairlines looking right, whether you're laying your edges or you're brushing them back or you're getting the shape up. We don't really play about that no matter where you're at in the world. So the pairs that I've gotten to see through photos that are shared so far, they're beautiful. They have beautiful hairstyles and they have realistic, rich skin tones. Mind you, the game isn't out yet, but I know that they have this representation and diversity thing on lock. Being a Black life sim player really isn't easy. Oftentimes I feel invisible, especially when it comes to being a content creator that centers my content around life sim games. I've been making content for years. No matter how hard I work, how consistent I am, I'm still a Black woman. So the success that many of my peers have that are not Black or Black men is harder for me to obtain just because of the way that I was born, especially here on YouTube. Thankfully, I come from a community of people that always perseveres and they make their own way, which is why I still make content to this day. And that's also why I was able to enjoy life sim games, because Black life simmers have made their own path, have created their own content for the community to enjoy so that we can feel seen and represented in our games. 2025 has been giving me hope, though, that Black simmers will not have to continue to work twice as hard to feel seen and represented and make characters that look like them in their games. But only time will tell if that's going to be true or not. If you made it this far into the video chat, drop some hearts in the comments. It is very encouraging for me to know who makes it to the end of these videos. Not that I don't mind talking to myself, not that I do talk to myself. Why would anybody say that? I heard your mom in the background. Tell her mind her business. But if you're watching from the TV and you can't drop a heart, that's okay. I feel your love. I feel your presence here anyway. So be sure to stay hydrated, be kind to yourself, and say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. But if you're not Black, maybe don't say that, just smile and nod with us in solidarity, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye.
Play Paralives, cozy vibes with ivory. Baby, put me